Because you could say, you could remember, oh, I remember going to games. It was so nice. But it's different when you get back into a rink with fans, with players, and you get to just see it live. It's just hits so much differently. And it was an incredible game. It was an incredible experience. And I want to thank Kitchener again for inviting us. And it was just so much fun. I loved every minute of it.
And Josh, when was the last hockey game that you went to? So, like, how long was that of a break between hockey games live?
It's been a long time. The OHL was off the entire year last year, and I'm not even sure if I got to a Storm game the year before, so it might be like 2 or 3 years since I've been to an OHL hockey game. So it's been a long time coming, and it was just so much fun. I'm gonna go definitely see a ton more now that I've got the taste for it again.
That's awesome. And can you just talk about maybe some of the players that you thought stood out? And I believe one of the players that you liked a lot was the only Kitchener player that I previewed in episode 8. I want to say 7 or 8 when we did like the rundown of Guelph Storm and Kitchener Rangers players. And that was Andrew LeBlanc, who I don't
Hmm.
believe had any previous OHL experience. Let me check real quick. No, he did not. So that was his first taste of OHL hockey, even though it was just preseason. We have to preface it with just preseason. But how did he look?
Yeah, I was watching him all game because I was interested. He's playing on the top line in this game with Mike Petizian and Joseph Serpa, who are both older veterans of the OHL. Petizian's 20 years old and Serpa's 19. And LeBlanc was a 17th overall pick in 2020, so obviously they missed the whole year. He wasn't able to play. But playing with those two veteran guys, he didn't look out of place, which was very interesting. They dominated the entire game pretty much when they were on the ice. They really worked in the offensive zone when they had the puck. Petizian was flying all over the place at Serpa. They scored all three Kitchener goals in the game, one from each of them. And LeBlanc had points in two of them. He made a great steal in the offensive zone to set up Petizian for the second goal, which was like the second goal in 30 seconds for Kitchener. So that was a fun surprise. But he's was really good in the zone where he was standing positionally. He made some really good plays. He made a great shot on the power play, or maybe it was right after the power play for his own goal, the third goal that Kitchener scored, and he looked really with it with two veteran older players from the OHL.
So I'm kind of curious to hear your input on this. Would you class it like I know it's just one game and you can't really define any player by one game, but would you define him more as a goal scorer or playmaker from just like the instinct that you saw? Or is he very like even in both?
Yeah, I mean he was just, I would say like he could be a good goal scorer. He was just very good positionally from what I saw. He was in position to make steals in the offensive zone. He was in position to take great shots and play well. So the assist that he made wasn't like some out of this world pass, but it was a great defensive play to steal the puck. So he's kind of like, he's really good positionally, and that really works for him to be able to do whatever he needs to do to produce offense, which is just what that line did all game. They just went and they just produced offense whenever they were on the ice, and he looked really great. Scored a really nice shootout goal to win the game at the end of there. So he was just, yeah, he was very impressive for a rookie player getting his first taste of hockey in a year.
Exactly. He has not played since the pandemic hit, so it's been like a year and a half since he's played any like competitive game. So
Yeah.
the fact that he fared so well is really impressive. And so let's transition this from one 17th overall pick to another. Do you want to talk about Carson Raycroft?
Yeah, Carson Rakoff. He is a year younger than LeBlanc, who is 17. He's 16, so he's not up for NHL draft this year. But he didn't show up on the scoreboard unless it was a negative way, which I'll mention a bit later. But he played really aggressively for a rookie 16-year-old, which was very surprising. He got some time on the penalty kill, and at one point the puck went back to the point, and Mississauga Steelhead just bobbled the puck for a second, and Redcroft was right on him. He bowled him over. Is by far the biggest hit in the game. They ended up lying on top of each other. He just bulldozed through him, and I thought it's pretty good play. If you He noticed that he bobbled the puck, and he had about half a second to decide to go after this guy, and if he's wrong, it's blowing up in his face. That defender could just walk right in there, but he saw his opportunity and he took it, and he played really well and physical all game. He had some good chances. In the third period, he had a great chance to score. Unfortunately, being a 16-year-old, he didn't get that chance, and behind the play, he got an unsportsmanlike conduct penalty, which,
Ooh, that's it's a learning curve for these young players, isn't it?
yeah, I mean, he's 16 years old. Like, he's gonna learn not to do that. And unfortunately, Mississauga scored on that power play,
Ooh,
which brought them back into the game at 3-2. But he played well other than that. And I think that's just gonna come with age and maturity when he learns when to pick his battles and when to play that aggressive physical game that he played and displayed a lot of this game, and when to back off and not get a penalty.
yeah, and just for the audience, just if it wasn't clear, so Andrew LeBlanc, who we talked about earlier, is a player who's draft eligible this season, and he is a centerman. So he's a forward, and he's 5'11" and listed at 157 pounds. Though that might be a dated like weight considering this is on Elite Prospects. I'm not sure if that updated this season. Whereas Carson Raykoff is a center or left wing, and he's 16, so he's not even draft eligible yet, but he's already 6'3" and 185 pounds. So he's already way more physically mature than Andrew LeBlanc is, who's a full year older. So it's interesting to just look at this, like the difference in physicality between these players. And I know you wanted to talk about also a player on who was that? Yes, of course, Xander Vecchia, who stood out to
Mm-hmm.
you, who is a player that I was not familiar with before you attended this game.
Yeah, he's a member of the first member of the Mississauga Steelheads that I am going to talk about. He stood out. He is a younger guy. Let me see here.
Yeah, so
He's, yeah,
he's
17
he's
years
draft
old,
eligible, but he's draft
draft
eligible,
eligible.
but born in July. So he, just like Joshua Rosa was this year, he will be a very young draft eligible player.
Yeah, he played kind of invisibly for the first two periods. I didn't make much note of him until we got to the third period. Kitchener was up 3-1 at that point, and Vetcha really stepped up his game. He scored the 3-2 goal on the power play from Raycroft's penalty, but it was a great tip in front of the net, and he also assisted on James Hardy's game tying goal with 27 seconds left. So he's out there, 6-on-5 opportunity, and he's producing offense. He also had a great chance. He split two much bigger defenders on the Kitchener Rangers to get a great scoring chance that he wasn't able to finish, but he was able to get right in between those two bigger guys and come away with the puck and a great scoring chance. So he's got definitely some hands and some skill to look out for there.
And are there any other players that really stood out to you for good or bad reasons, or does that cover really the ones that were the most special?
The one guy that I did make note of on the defensive side was a defender on the Kitchener Rangers who was named Matthew Andonovsky. He's another rookie, 16 years old, fourth round pick. So he's a bit lower down there, but he was an interesting guy to watch because he would either display a great amount of skill, however, it would give you a terrible giveaway. And he,
Eric Gustafson,
yeah, yeah,
the bigger version of Eric Gustafson, considering
he's a
that
big guy.
Andonovsky is 6'3" and 194 pounds, and he's not even draft eligible yet.
Yeah, he's
this is
noticeable out there. But he skates well. He seemed to like to have the puck on his stick coming out of the zone. Unfortunately, it was really mostly the first period that he was making these mistakes, which I think is part of not being able to play for a year. I think it's harder. Yeah, it's harder for defenders and things to get back into the groove of breaking it out because it's easy to break it out against your teammates, but when you're facing another team, it's a whole different beast. Similar to the goalies, unfortunately, for Kitchener Rangers. It's going to be interesting if for the season, every time a Kitchener Ranger goalie has the puck on his stick, your heart's going to be in your throat. They had about 3 touches of the puck and it went directly into opposing players' sticks.
Oh no.
Yeah, one was a goal. The other 2 they were able to salvage, but it was an interesting game for the goalies back there.
Yeah, it'll be something to keep track of for sure. And if you keep going to some Kitchener Rangers games this season and you had to pick one of their players that, I don't know, like best player, but like the one that you're most like excited to watch. And you don't just have to stick with players that you saw in this game or players that haven't been drafted yet, just a player that you're just really stoked to watch a bit more.
Yeah, I'd love to see Francesco Pinelli.
He's so good. He's such a good player.
Second round
I was hoping
NHL
you'd talk about
pick.
him. He should have gotten the first, in my opinion. But yeah, he's wonderful. Just
there are a couple
so
of
smart.
spots that they could have switched him into there. Yeah. But he's such a smart player. He's able to make plays that just I can't see coming. He's just so smart, so skilled. Obviously he's a second round pick for the LA Kings this year. So he's gonna be
LA Kings, like their prospect pool is just like them and the Rangers and even like Senators, but to a lesser degree, but like them and the Rangers, it's just not fair. It's just a ridiculous pool of prospects on both sides. And again, like Pinelli is just a tremendously intelligent player. Reminds me of Nick Suzuki in some facets of not the strongest skater, but just so smart. And he has a lot of skill. He can shoot, he can pass. It's just the work effort isn't always the most apparent. And the skating ability isn't quite there. Like as a template of player, he's very much like Nick Suzuki. If he develops like Suzuki is another question entirely. But in terms of like skill set, it's not too far off. And I think if you do go to some more Rangers games this season, Kitchener that is, not New York, you are sure to get some real highlights from that one player. Now, I think we covered Joshua's experience. That was quite the experience at the preseason game with the media pass. Let us turn it over to Anthony DeMarco and his Around the NHL segment with our very own Patrick Lorty, who could not join us for this panel, sadly. But I'll turn it over to them and just to talk about what really is going on around the league right now. Here they are.
You know the day destroys the night, night divides the day. Try to run, try to hide, break on through to the other side, break on through to the other side, break on through to the good and sad, yeah.
Around the NHL this week with Anthony DeMarco. How's it going, buddy?
Not too bad, man. Looking forward for some